Now, from political science, I'll start with the chapter that is what is democracy, why democracy. Now, just look into these pictures. Now, democracy means where peoples can give votes, means elect their representatives. Now, before we used ballot box, now we use EVM machines. Okay, now people can elect representatives, and those peoples can be from any background, irrespective of their caste, grade, gender, religious. Okay, now that means in India, if any candidate who attain age of 18, irrespective of their caste, grade, genders, they can give vote. Okay, that means political equality. Now you just look a little bit to this picture also. Now, democracy is one form of government, and another form of government is dictatorships. Okay, now dictatorship means where particular one person or one party make each and every decision. Now whatever they will say, people need to follow it. But in case of democracy, it is the people who elect their representatives who make laws for their country. Okay, now I am starting the chapter. Now, in these chapters, we need to cover total 5 topics. What is democracy? Features of democracy, positive and negative aspects of democracy, difference between democracy and dictatorship, and the last one, that is broader meaning of democracy. Now, let me start with the first topic, that is what is democracy? Now, democracy means where people enjoys political rights. Now, what do you mean by political rights? Political right means where citizens can elect their representatives. Okay, now who are those representatives? Now, representatives are representatives are those candidates who, on behalf of the people, means generally who get selected, and on behalf of the people, they make laws for the countries. Okay, now they are the representatives. Now here the representatives in India are the MLAs and the MPs. Okay, MLAs for the state level and the MPs for the central. Okay, for the inter country, that is member of parliament. Now, next topics, what you need to cover, it is about the features of democracy. Now, one of the features of democracy means major decisions by elected leaders. That means elected leaders means who own the elections and get elected as our representatives. Now, definitely the ministers are the elected representatives who make laws for the country. Now, under these topics, we need to cover the story of General Parvez Musharraf. Now, what he did, he captured the power through military coup in Pakistan. uh, he captured the power through military coup in Pakistan in October 1999, where he overthrown the democratically elected government. Okay, and he declared himself as president. And after that, in order to show to the entire world that people liked him, what he did, he held one referendum. Now, what is referendum? A general vote by the voters on a single political issues. Okay, either the people have to give answer, means direct yes or no. Now there, in referendum, he had won, but actually the report said that he used different types of malpractices. He threatened the voters there. Okay, now, just after he confirmed himself for next 5 years, what he did, he passed one law which is called legal framework order. Now, according to that order, means he can dismiss the legislative assembly both at the central and at the provincial level. So clearly, we can say that he means generally it is not a democracy, it is straight away one type of dictatorship form of government where General Parvez Musharraf voice is ultimate. Okay, but in case of democracy, there is no such concept is there, that where an individual or particular political party can enjoy the ultimate power. Okay, in a democratic country, it is the elected representatives who make decisions for the entire country. Next topics, it is about free and fair competitions, electoral competitions. Now we all know that in democratic country elections are held, but in different types of dictator country, means their elections are not held. Suppose means not in free and fair manner. Take the example of China, means where elections are held regularly every 6 years, after every 5 years, but there the representatives who need to take permissions, means who are contesting the elections, need to take permissions from communist party. Okay, if the communist party agreed, they only they can proceed. Okay, So that means in China, the representative get elected for People National Congress, but before that they need to take the consent of the Communist Party. And another example they had given that in Mexico since 1930 until 2000 elections are held, but what happened? Particular one party had won, that is Institutional Revolutionary Party. Now, by adopting different types of tricks, malpractices. Now, that is also not democracy. Democracy means where people can contest the elections freely and where the voters can give their votes freely. If such thing is not happening, that means it is not a democratic country. Clear? Next one. Third one person's one vote value. Now here they had given few example. That means they had given they had said few events that is about Saudi Arabia, that until 2015 there the women were not given voting rights. In Estonia the minorities, that means the Russians, were not allowed to give vote. And even in Fiji, the vote value varies, means vote value is more for the original Fijian, whereas for the Indian it is less. So that means there is no political equality. Okay, but in a democratic country, each adult citizen must have one vote, and the value of each vote must be one. Okay, now you just take the example of India here. Political equality is there, and we follow universal adult franchise. That means a candidate who attained the age of 18 are eligible to give vote irrespective of caste, religious, gender. Now, the fourth topics about features of democracy is rule of law and respects for right. Now, what do you mean by rule of law? Rule of law means law is above all. Okay, even government is bound to obey the law. Means through rule of law, we can check the arbitrary actions of the government. Now, here they give one example from Zimbabwe. That means President Mugabe, who actually led the freedom struggle and freed Zimbabwe from the white minorities. Now, he declared himself as a lifelong president. He makes each and every law in favor of them. So that means there is no rule of law is has been followed. So that means we can say that Zimbabwe was not a democratic country. Okay, till 2017, because later in 2017 President Mugabe was overthrown by military. Okay, so that means you just see, means in a dictatorship type of country mostly there are chances of conflicts, whereas in a democratic country there is no such conflicts or violence are there. As democracy, political equalities are there and people enjoys their political rights. Okay, now even in a democratic country, means government tries to protect the rights of the people. Okay, now just come to the next topics, that is the negative aspects or demerits of democracy. Now, in a democracy, as elections are held, now if the political party does not perform well, then definitely that political party changes. So thus it leads to instability. This is one of the factors. Now, next one, what is said that in a democratic country there are no scope for morality, as because each and every political party tries to win the elections either through money or muscle power. Third one is that decisions often get delayed, as lot of consultations is required in democracy. Okay, fourth point is that sometimes it create factionalism in the society. Now, what does it means? That means people start means we start marking people from their political background. Now, it is very dangerous. Now, next one, the last one is that it leads to corruptions for political gain. Anyhow, the minister tries to win the elections, and for that they can use different types of tricks, different types of malpractices. Okay, now these are the negative aspects. Now, what are the positive aspects or merits of democracy? First one, more accountable form of government. That means government is bound to answer in the legislature for their activities. Means the oppositions will raise the questions for any for their actions of the government, and the government is bound to answer for it. Next one, in a democratic country, means in democratic country the means it is possible for us to deals with differences and conflicts. Now, as equality is the central theme in democracy, So from different background, people can participate in political activities, and thus it helps to sort out their difference and conflicts, and we can we means it helps us to stay together. Third one is that democracy improves the quality of decisions making, as lot of consultations and discussion is there, so based decisions we could reach through democracy. Democracy enhance Fourth point is that democracy enhance the dignity of the citizens. Now it means that political equality is there, and definitely each and everyone could participate in political activity irrespective of their caste, grade, gender. Okay, and thus and even people can express their opinion, and so means clearly one enjoys one's freedom, and thus it enhances the dignity of the citizens. Fifth point is that it allows us to correct our mistakes. That means, as there is a space for public discussions on these mistakes, and there is a scope for corrections of these mistakes also. Okay, because means people can express their views, their opinions, and thus means we get a means government can check their any fault or anything, and they tries to overcome that particular defects and tries to win the heart of the people. Okay, now that is democracy in order to get re-elected for the next time. But such thing is not possible in a dictator country, because dictator is ultimatum, means whatever, if it is wrong, then people need to follow that wrong thing only. But in democracy it is not like that. Now little bit we need to know about the difference between democracy and dictatorship. Democracy means people elect their representatives, whereas in dictatorship no elections are held. Okay, means either it is one man rule or one party rule. In a democratic country, people enjoys political rights and certain other rights, but in dictatorship countries no such rights are enjoyed by the people. In democratic countries there are less chances of conflict. Why? Because equality is there, so each and everyone could participate in political affairs. But whereas in dictator country, it is the dictators generally who makes the laws, and definitely it could not means it could raise the voice. Okay, means conflict, there is a chances of conflicts. Now the last topic, that is broader meaning of democracy, means clearly broader meaning of democracy means representative democracy. Now what is representative democracy? In modern world it is not possible to involve large number of people to sit and take a part in policy making. Okay, so for that what we did, we held elections, and through that elections the candidate who get elected is our representative, and that representative make laws on behalf of us. That is representative democracy. Okay, that is the broader meaning of democracy. Clear? Okay, thank you.